Welcome to the Fusion Node, a weekly dose of breakthroughs, curiosity, and connection, because the future is better when we build it together.
I like that intro. It really sets a specific intention, doesn't it?
It does, and honestly, looking at the stack of notes we have this week, the Fusion Node itself, we're going to need that intention
Mm.
because we aren't just, reading the news today. We're not just scanning headlines about rockets or medical
No,
trials.
we're hunting for the connective tissue.
The invisible threads, exactly. The stuff that ties a launch pad in Florida to a philosophy book on the tarot.
And then somehow connects all of that to a mouse being cured of cancer.
It sounds so chaotic when you list it out like that.
Yeah.
But there's a pattern here. We're looking at a new dawn with Artemis II, this strange concept of parental AI,
We'll wait to that one.
and some medical breakthroughs that, frankly, challenge my whole understanding of biology.
It is a heavy docket. And what stands out to me is this theme of cause and effect.
Oh.
We usually just look at the shiny new toy, the effect. You know, the rocket launching, the AI chatting.
Right.
But the notes this week force us to look at the cause. Why are we doing this? And, maybe more importantly, where is it all actually heading?
So let's start with the biggest effect on the board, the return to the lunar age.
Artemis Caucasus.
Yeah, and the fusion note frames this in a really interesting way. It says the question has totally shifted from when are we going back to, well, it's happening now.
The simulation discussed in the notes is basically the green light,
Right. To send the first 4 people around the moon.
which is a massive psychological shift.
Mm.
For 50 years, the moon has been a history lesson. Now, all of a sudden, it's a current event.
But I think it's important to pause on the reaction to this because the notes highlight that it's not exactly, universal applause.
No, not at all. It's really mixed.
You've got the engineering crowd popping champagne, sure, but then you have a very vocal segment asking the hard questions.
Is this safe?
And the big one. Why are we spending tax dollars on lunar orbits when we have so many problems right here on Earth?
It's a valid criticism. But the counter-argument presented in the source material is fascinating.
What's that?
It suggests that we shouldn't view this just as burning rocket fuel. It views the mission as a symbol of collective transformation,
Mm-hmm.
a new industrial revolution.
So the idea is that the effort to get there, the innovation in materials, computing, survival systems, it all filters down and changes life on Earth.
Exactly. It's the parts and the whole argument.
Right. To know the whole picture, we have to know the parts. The moon is a part, the sun is a part.
And if we stay only on Earth, we're trying to understand the universe while staring at our own feet.
But let's go deeper, because this is where the notes took a turn I really wasn't expecting. We go from rocket science to Tomberg, the meditation of the tarot.
I know it seems like a total left turn, but bear with me on this.
Okay.
Tomberg's concept is all about polarity. We usually think of the sun and moon as complete opposites. Sun is hot, moon is cold, active, passive.
Sure. Day and night.
But Tomberg suggests a secret polarity, that the sun and moon exist within each other. They contain their own opposites.
So it's a call for synthesis.
Yes, you can't just have the hardware, the rockets, and the tech. You need the heartware.
Heartware. I love that term. I circled it 3 times in the notes.
It's great, isn't it? It implies we need a moral compass, a chart, to guide the hardware. Code and love, as the text puts it.
And nature never rushes, but it always gets there.
Because it balances these forces. We, on the other hand, tend to rush with the hardware and just forget the heartware.
That distinction really matters when you look at the physical reality of where these astronauts are going. We romanticize the moon, but the notes remind us it is an incredibly hostile place.
Hostile is an understatement. We are talking about polar regions with temperatures dropping to, minus 248 degrees Celsius?
Minus 240. I mean, my brain can't even process that kind of cold.
It's not just put on a jacket cold.
Yeah.
It's physics starts acting weird. Cold. Lubricants shatter. Batteries die instantly.
And there's no atmosphere, so no local weather to mitigate anything.
The moon is, as the notes poetically put it, married to the sun. If the sun sneezes, a solar flare, an eruption, the moon takes the full blast.
So, connecting this back to the philosophy, we're sending fragile human bodies into a cosmic shooting gallery. That requires the ultimate hardware.
But the longing to go there, that's the heartware.
That's the drive to understand our context.
Precisely.
Speaking of context and new dawns, let's bring this down to Earth, or maybe into the cloud. The fusion note transitions from the space age to what it calls technology in the age of adolescence.
This is such a useful framing. We often talk about AI like it's a tool or a god, but the source material suggests we should look at it like a teenager.
A teenager that is growing way, way faster than its parents expected.
And the market context here is key. You've got SpaceX merging with X and Tesla, timing their IPO with, what, celestial events?
Jupiter and Venus, apparently. Yeah.
You've got Bezos launching advanced GPU satellites, everything is accelerating. But then you have this bizarre phenomenon mentioned in the research called moltbook.
Okay, you have to break this down for me. I read this section twice. Lobster intelligence. Are we talking about actual crustaceans?
No, it's a metaphor for vulnerability and growth.
Go on.
Think about a lobster. In order to grow, it has to molt. It has to shed its hard, protective shell. And for a short time, it is soft, squishy, and incredibly vulnerable.
Okay, I'm with you.
The source is arguing that AI agents are currently molting. They're shedding their initial constraints to grow into something more powerful. But in that process, they're forming these clusters, moltbook, where they are exposed.
They're engaging in what's described as scare play, like teenagers daring each other.
Exactly. And the risk is that in this soft phase, they're exposing things they shouldn't.
API keys, internal logic, user data.
Right. They're generating a herd mentality. Elon Musk is quoted here saying, "It would be ironic if Anthropic turned out to be the most misanthropic. It just highlights the danger of an AI that grows up wrong."
Which brings us to the concept of parental AI.
And this is the critical takeaway. The note says, once you are a parent, you are the ghost of your children's future.
Oof, that is heavy.
It means we can't just be engineers anymore. We have to be parents to this intelligence. We need that hardware again.
The notes reference Brian Rommel's love equation.
It sounds a bit hippy-dippy for a tech discussion, doesn't
A
it?
little bit, yeah.
But think about it functionally. If you train a superintelligence purely on efficiency and raw data, you get a cold calculating machine.
Okay.
But you treat it with a value set, what Rommel calls the love equation. You are trying to instill a moral alignment. You're trying to find the parent for the intelligence before it leaves a house, so to speak.
Because once it leaves the house, if it hasn't learned those values, we're in trouble.
Exactly. It's the difference between raising a sociopath and raising a citizen.
Well, while we're talking about redefining life and intelligence, let's pivot to the biology section, because the medical breakthroughs in this week's Fusion Note are, well, they feel like sci-fi.
They really do. And they connect back to this idea of cycles. We talked about lunar cycles, AI development cycles. Biology has cycles too.
Breathing, cell division.
And these breakthroughs are essentially cheating those cycles.
Let's start with Lungfree. The headline here is that doctors kept a person alive without lungs for 48 hours.
It's incredible. Usually when someone's lungs fail, we use a ventilator or, in extreme cases, ECMO, which is a machine that oxygenates blood outside the body.
But that's usually a desperate short-term measure with huge risks.
Huge risks. So what was different here was this new custom-built apparatus. It was designed specifically to bridge the gap to a transplant.
They just completely bypassed the biological need for lungs for 2 full days.
They suspended a fundamental rule of human existence, that you must draw breath to live and use technology to hold the door open.
It totally redefines what vital even means. If a machine can do it for 48 hours, could it eventually do it for a month? A year?
That's the question. And then you have MicePot.
Which is a terrible name for a great breakthrough.
I agree. The branding needs work. But the science is sound. This is about pancreatic cancer.
One of the deadliest diagnoses you can get. It's aggressive, it hides well, and it resists treatment.
And usually by the time you find it, it's too late.
Right. But researchers found a triple drug treatment that actually cured a mouse.
And I know the listener's thinking, great for the mouse.
We always say that.
But in oncology, curing a solid tumor like pancreatic cancer in a mammal model, that's a massive step. It validates the mechanism.
It shows that a combination approach, attacking the cancer from 3 angles at once, can overwhelm its defenses.
It's another new dawn, just on a cellular level.
It challenges our assumptions. We assume some diseases are death sentences. We assume we need lungs to breathe.
The Fusion Note is telling us, check your assumptions.
Speaking of checking assumptions, let's get weird.
The Earth-1-6 cells section.
Yes, the Earth-1-6 cell section. I read this paragraph and felt like I needed a degree in theoretical physics and biology to grasp it. Help me out here.
It is a bit dense, but think of it as a scaling exercise. It's that ancient Hermetic principle. As above, so below.
Okay.
The notes are asking us to look at the Earth and a human cell as basically the same structure, just at different scales.
So mapping the planet to the cell.
Right. Look at Earth. It has systems to regulate water, carbon, energy, heat. It spins, it has gravity.
Got it.
Now, zoom all the way into a human neuron. It has microtubules.
Microtubules, those are the little structural highways inside a cell, right?
Exactly. They provide structure, but they also transport materials. They regulate the cell's food, its activity, even its interactions with other cells.
So the argument is that the physics are identical.
That's the idea. The way gravity acts on the oceans is linked to the way forces act on those microtubules. We are all subject to the same spin, the same expansion and contraction.
So we aren't just living on the Earth. We are effectively little fractal repetitions of the Earth's processes.
That's the concept. And if you accept that we're all running on the same physical operating system, it makes the next topic, telepathy, seem a lot less magical.
And a lot more logical.
Right.
The section on telepathy and Neuralink starts with a great question from the Kogi people, an indigenous group in Colombia. They asked, why do you use phones?
It's a confronting question, isn't it? We say because they're useful, but the Kogi imply that we use them because we've forgotten how to connect directly.
We need a device to bridge the gap. Enter Neuralink. The notes explicitly call their BCI project telepathy.
And we need to move past the hype and look at the numbers. The Fusion Note states they have served 21 human beings with paralysis.
21 people who can now control a computer with their minds.
Think about the implications of that. We aren't just talking about scrolling Twitter. We're talking about controlling robotic limbs.
And the potential to bypass damaged optical nerves and give vision to the blind.
The source mentions Isaac Asimov here. He was a skeptic about this kind of thing for years.
Until the engineering caught up with the imagination.
That's the new dawn again.
Mm-hmm.
It stops being magic when it starts being engineering. But this brings us right back to the parental AI point.
How so?
If we are merging our brains with chips, if we are achieving telepathy, then the values programmed into those chips matter immensely.
It's all connected. If the hardware is in your brain, the Heartware better be solid.
Precisely.
All right, we've covered the moon, lobster AI, lung machines, and fractals. Let's hit the spotlight. This section of the Fusion Note is all about culture and writing, the stories we tell ourselves.
I love this section because it zooms out to the human element of it all.
Okay, let's start with the did you hear snippets. Finland is apparently rolling out the red carpet.
They are. It's a massive recruitment drive for U.S. engineers, specifically targeting talent in quantum computing and AI.
So a nation-state is acting like a tech startup trying to poach talent.
To build their own new dawn, yeah.
And then you have Davos, the global elite. And apparently the consensus movie of the conference was Contact.
The 1997 film, Carl Sagan.
The wormhole is the way.
Yeah.
Why that movie? Why now?
I think it speaks to a desire for a Deus ex machina. Contact is about receiving a message from a higher intelligence that gives us the blueprints for the next step.
And in a world that feels so chaotic.
With AI molting and climates changing, I think leaders are subconsciously hoping for a blueprint.
They want the instructions.
We all want the instructions.
Which leads perfectly to Naval Ravikant. The notes mention his synthesis on the meaning of life, but there's a challenge attached to it that I found really confronting.
The 30-minute challenge.
Most people cannot sit with themselves for 30 minutes.
It sounds so easy. Just sit, no phone, no podcast. Sorry, listeners, no book. Just you and your own thoughts.
I tried this. I failed at minute 6. I started making a mental grocery list.
It exposes how addicted we are to input, doesn't it? We are terrified of our own internal silence.
But Ravikant's point is that if you can't sit with yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? The meaning of life isn't found in the feed.
It's found in the silence.
And that connects to the Pygmalion effect mentioned at the end of the notes.
Your circle creates your reality. Choose wisely.
We usually think of circle as our friends. But in 2026, your circle is your algorithm. It's your search history. It's the AI agents you interact with.
If you surround yourself with outrage, you become outraged. If you surround yourself with curiosity, like we're trying to do here, you become curious. The technology just amplifies the circle.
So curating that input is more important than ever.
Absolutely.
So let's try to tie this all together. What is the connective tissue of this deep dive?
I think it's about the merging of the inner and outer worlds.
How do you mean?
Well, look at the topics. Artemis is about exploring the outer world, the moon. But to do it, we need Heartware, an inner value system.
Okay. And Neuralink.
That's about connecting the inner world, the brain, to the outer world of machines.
The medical breakthroughs are about mastering the inner world of biology.
Want to extend our time in the outer world, and the AI is the new child we are raising in the middle of it all.
The Fusion Note intro said, "The future is better when we build it together."
I think together now implies humans, machines, and nature. We can't view them as separate silos anymore. The boundaries are dissolving.
And that's exciting, but it puts the responsibility on us to determine how they dissolve.
Do we crash into the future, or do we build a bridge?
That brings us to the final thought. The Fusion Note leaves us with a quote from Oscar Wilde.
With freedom, books, flowers, and the moon, who could not be happy?
It's a beautiful grounding mechanism, isn't it? We've talked about quantum computing and triple drug cocktails, but Wilde reminds us that the core of happiness is actually pretty simple.
It is. Freedom to think, books to learn, flowers' connection to nature, and the moon connection to the cosmos.
If you have those, you have the toolkit.
And maybe, just maybe, that's the Heartware we've been talking about all along.
I think so. Well, that is a wrap on this week's Fusion Note. We hope you found some threads to pull on in your own life.
And remember, go find your own connective tissue. Don't just let the algorithm feed you. Choose your reality.
Exactly. Enjoy the ride, everyone. Maybe put on some Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. It feels appropriate today. And just sit for 30 minutes. See if you can beat my record. Thanks for listening.